Hello again and welcome back to some climbing news. Before I start the show, just a friendly reminder, like, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube stuff if you haven't done that before. But let's get the show started. And starting us out today, Michaela Kiersch, showing the world she had very good reason for moving to Austria. She's just snagged the first female ascent of Dolby Surround, a route in Zillertal. And honestly, I'm only saying first female ascent because that's what she called it on her Instagram announcement. This thing kind of sort of comes with a little bit of an asterisk. Because the route broke, right? Let's go quick history lesson here. Kilian Fischhuber sends this thing in 2008, proposes 8C+. Then about a year later, Jakob Schubert, before he was the Jakob Schubert, shows up, gets a repeat after a broken hold, stumps a bunch of other people. New Sen with the broken hold means the grade gets up to my personal favorite, a slash grade. So now 8C+ / 9A or 514C / D. Then it gets repeated a few times by some people, including this one dude you may have heard of. Yeah, him, wears yellow a lot, likes carrots. Then, if I'm to understand things correctly, and what really logically seems to be the only sequence of events that makes sense, the climb broke again. Because sport climbs are chas. They're not. I'll begrudgingly admit that this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, let's just look at it. Honestly, it's sick-ass overhanging cliff right above a waterfall. It's so goddamn beautiful. It's making me wish I was strong enough to do it. And me wanting to sport climb goes against every single fiber of my being. You know how awesome a route has to be for that to happen? Pretty freaking awesome. Look at it. Anyways, yeah, so in my experience, rock next to water, one of two things. Either completely slick and basically bomb-proof, or incredibly flaky and rough because moisture and mist and all the wondrous stuff that water does to, break rock down. This unfortunately seems like it might be the latter since it broke twice, though honestly, the setting is so freaking sick, it really doesn't matter how good or bad the rock quality is. I mean, the climber in me is legitimately going nuts over this thing. Again, just look at it. Apparently, Michaela says the rock quality is actually pretty great. Right, so anyways, insert Michaela Kiersch on an amazing run of form. She snags the FFA with an asterisk since the post-break kind of makes it an FA, sort of, but not really. 2 months and a day, 20 freaky sessions, her longest project yet, and she proposes 9A+ / 515A. According to Michaela, she does so with the confidence she probably should have because, yeah, she's been around, drawing from her own experience at the grade and from talking to other strong climbers who were supposedly also working on this route. Presumably, possibly, probably, one of them being Will Bosey, who she tagged on the gram as saying that he was going to be next to do it. Don't want to engage in rumors and gossip, but I'm assuming this means that they probably worked this thing together at some point. So the question becomes, well, where does this put Michaela Kiersch in terms of, all the other best sport climbing women? Well, this route would now up her tick list to 3 9A+ routes, a number only matched by Margot Hayes, who also sent 3, and surpassed only by Anak Verhoeven, who sent 4, and Laura Rora, who has sent an insane 11 climbs. Basically, yeah, Michaela is quite easily one of the strongest women to ever climb, and this and her last 9A sport route send Mad Lib, which was also an FA, indicates, at least to me, that she seems pretty interested in going for, hard first ascents, which I think is one of the big things that we're missing from this sport, right? Like women developing routes, boulders, etc. It is incredibly rare, and we need a lot more of it. Congratulations, Michaela. Well fucking done. And then, did Noah Wheeler just send Burden of Dreams? No, no, he did not. He dabbed. Ah, man, this is Shirtgate all over again. Or maybe not. At least with the shirt thing, people were debating whether there even was a dab. In this case, there's definitely one. And while I don't think it necessarily helped the dude out, dab's a dab. Those are the rules. Noah knows it. He called this attempt a pretty good link, and, it's just like how Bosey just figured out a new beta for silence, right? Like, now they can both start giving Sengos from the bottom. It's the exact same situation. Look, jokes aside, I don't think it's really all that surprising that Noah basically did the boulder. I mean, not basically did it, he did it. He can't call it a send or ticket officially, but let's be real, he freaking did it. Dab was so minimal, I completely doubt it helped him or hurt him at all. It's leaving me unable to speak correctly. The point is, no replica used 2 trips, like, I don't know, very, very, very few sessions to basically get here. Noah's absolutely on one. And look, I talked about Wheel Rock saying shit about a potential downgrade a couple of days ago, and to be honest, it seems like Noah will likely take 17 for this thing. I can't imagine he won't once he actually repeats it if he hasn't already. The point is, we're basically talking about the world's best board climber doing the most board climby boulder in the entire world, right? And man, look, I'm super V17 fatigued still, despite my previous extended hiatus. So rather than talk about Burden specifically, I think it's kind of interesting to talk about the evolution of grading that we might be seeing right now. Because look, it's not exactly a secret that grades are all over the freaking place, but it is interesting to see the sort of trends that you can find all over the world with regards to what is and isn't considered soft. Take Fontainebleau, for example, right? La Forêt is absolutely littered with hard-ass slab and vertical climbing. Its reputation as being incredibly sandbagged in that respect does not need to be reiterated, but I will do so either way. It's hard as shit. And yet, find some stuff on an overhang and generally, not always, but generally, you'll find a lot of it is actually kind of soft.
Coincidence? I think not!
Yeah, what a surprise. The thing that's most prevalent in your area is the thing that people in your area are going to be best at. And thus the thing most prevalent in your area will be, unbeknownst to locals, sandbagged to those used to other styles or not from your area. It's a thing. Case in point, Noah Wheeler, guy who almost exclusively trains on boards, thinking a board climb is easier than it would otherwise be or has otherwise proven to be to mostly everybody else. Plus also there's a beta break. By the way, Noah, if you think Burden's so soft, send it the OG way. Otherwise the soft one is you, buddy. Okay, I'm obviously joking around, but also, like, how sick would that be? You open up the YouTube, you see in a little notification, there's a wheel rock with the title Burden 2 Ways, bam! I'd burn my rock to that real goddamn good. The fuck am I saying? Jesus Christ, dude. Wheel rock comment sections have just destroyed the internet. Anyways, it's interesting to know how consensus has changed for a lot of climbs thanks to the advent of the modern climbing gym and, by extension, the modern training board. Stuff that used to be considered incredibly difficult because it was overhung is now either soft or been regraded. Technical boulders at lower grades are considered impossible because no one knows how to do them because no one sets them in gyms anymore. Seriously, like, can I just say that, like, does anyone else have, like, this experience at gyms now where every single slab problem, for whatever reason, is always comp style? Whatever. Interesting stuff. Something new to talk about that's grade adjacent, but also isn't a conversation about a specific climb's grade. Throw some examples out there in the comments of climbs changing like that over time for me, please. I want to hear about them to everybody who's watching. Anyways, Noah, congrats on the send of Burden. Something tells me the dude probably already did it, just hasn't decided to post just yet, which he will. But yeah, it's cool shit. Big stuff. Let's move on. Next, in sort of a little announcement, kind of unofficially, since we've yet to see any photos or really anything anywhere other than a podcast, Katie Lamb has sent her project. Yeah, so if you're a fan of the Careless Talk Climbing podcast, you'll know all about this. If you're not, well, sit on down and let me fill you in. You may be aware or may not be aware that Katie Lamb has been spending a metric shit ton of time in Yosemite lately, and it is in Yosemite that she found a really hard goddamn boulder. And wow, what a problem. She liked you good, she liked you well. You are a rock and roll rock. You are her #1 line. You are her lifetime project. Not really. Honestly, she did it pretty freaking quickly. Also, anyone able to catch that last reference would probably get along in real life. Now look, because this is important, Katie's project, whatever it ultimately gets called, whatever it ultimately looks like, she's grading it 8CV15. And according to Aiden Roberts, this thing's like a hard 8CV15. Like, calling it that grade is apparently her being a little bit conservative, which is kind of interesting in that sense because it apparently fits her morphology incredibly well and has a crux move that Aiden has yet to be able to pull off, which is not normal or common for Aiden to not be able to do something. It's crazy. Which means this is the second hard first ascent by a woman that I get to talk about today, and I'm all about it. Trends is starting. Michaela Kiersch and Katie today. Yana Zvechova and her send of Tokyo Drift, also 8CV15, just about a month ago. Look, FAs are hugely important for cementing your legacy in the climbing community. Repeating problems is cool, but there's a reason Lynn Hill's It Goes Boys is as freaking iconic as it is. Still probably one of the greatest climbing achievements of all time, and if we're talking about the greatest climbers ever, well, really think about the list you're doing in your head. I guarantee every single one of those, if not most of them, is known because of their first ascents in some way, shape, or form. Lin, check. Sharma, check. Tommy, check. Andra, check. Fred, check. I could go on, but I'd probably be here forever. Point is, yeah, phase, man. Forging your own path, vision, all that stuff. It's incredibly important to us as climbers. And there is honestly zero reason that the strongest women in the world can't do that too. They can. They're strong as shit. If you're one of the like 5 women that watches this show, seriously, I can't encourage you enough. Go hike around, find cool boulders and routes, scrub or bolt them, follow the ethics of the place you're in. Doing FAs is awesome. It's super rewarding. We need more of you out there doing it. This then puts Katie firmly on paper as the greatest female outdoor boulderer of all time. 4 8C V15 boulder problems, 1 8C plus V16. She is absolutely freaking killing it. I cannot recommend the Careless Talk podcast enough. If you're not a frequent listener of it, you should be. Links to it are in the description to anyone that wants to go and hear Katie speaking about this thing herself. She put a ton of work into this thing, and it's awesome to hear that she did it. I'll keep you guys updated in the case that she decides on a name for this thing and if there are even photos of it. But otherwise, let's move on ahead to talking about Emil Abrahamsson and a bit of a double-double that I want to get into. First, big congrats to Emil on his send of Biologico. It's a 9A. It was FA'd by Abrahamsson back in 2012. Did I say that with enough of an Italian accent? I think so. It's a sport climb, so the boulderer in me feels slightly betrayed that Emil would choose to go dark side on us. But I'll accept his brief blasphemy with grace and aplomb. It's fine. Now, we're all about peace and love here at Some Climbing News. And, well, Emil has paid reparations for his transgressions by taking one of the world's most prominent sport climbers and forcing him to get on a bunch of really, really hard boulders. My guy's a double agent. Sport climbers out there playing checkers while we boulderers are kicking ass at chess. In Emil's case, pretty goddamn literally. Yes, that's right. I want to talk about Emil's latest video where he and Stefano Ghisolfi take on our rival of the birds. Finally, we've been gifted actual footage of the boulder that's not been recorded by a toaster. Austin Hoyt, you promised me good footy of that boulder. Where is it, you bastard? Poor Austin, catching strays for no reason. Dude got rained out like crazy. Such a bummer of a trip for him. Anyways, arrival of the birds. Some of the worst holds I think I have ever seen. Legitimately, as Daniel Woods would probably say, 1/8 of a pad 4mm micro crimpers and some absolutely horrific, like genuinely horrific feet. Just make my voice a little more nasal. Can't do it myself. You know, I think the problem with watching really strong people climb, or really with watching anyone climb, like the opposite of what I'm about to say happens to me all the time too, is that you can't ever really have an understanding of someone's finger strength level or just general climbing ability based on what you're watching them do. So comparing yourself to someone you've never climbed with personally and done the same stuff as is practically impossible. It's one of the reasons why I love tension board lords, right? It contextualizes how strong these people really are, because you can just literally find a TB2, throw on, say, how soon is now, and then just let it noggle your boggle. You know what I mean? And Emil, given how public he is about his climbing and how often you can see him do hard-ass stuff all over the world on the kilter board too, for example, I think he's one of those people whose true strength as a climber can be very easily contextualized. And Arrival of the Birds made him look like a bitch. No, I'm kidding. Good Lord, am I kidding? I mean, also kind of not. Emil is incredibly strong, for real. He's stronger than like 99.9% of the world's climber. Way stronger than I am. He could very probably and very easily clear every single problem in every single one of our gyms, and likely will shrug and think, yeah, this is good sesh. And yet, put him next to Stefano Ghisolfi on one of the world's hardest boulder problems, and the guy looked insanely human. And yet next to us mortals, dude's a freaking demigod. I don't know, it was a really cool video. Even more cool to get to put into perspective just how hard 9A can really be, and how just absolutely insanely strong Stefano Ghisolfi really is. I will say, small part of me that low-key feels a little sad about seeing more footage of Arrival. Like, right now, there's this wild mystique about the boulder. It's kind of like how all we had of Bird in the Dreams for a while was this bit of crappy footage, or like a 3-minute segment on Epic TV. Everyone kind of talked about Bird in like an almost whispered sort of way, as if you said the name 3 times in a mirror, Nolly would materialize behind you and strangle you to death with a bunch of broken solution straps. Now, well, we've seen it from every angle. Trees are gone. It's literally the equivalent of freaking George from Monsters, Inc. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm just scared that social media is going to social media and Arrival of the Birds is going to get like 2319. Hopefully not, though. You know, those crimps are vicious. Anyways, congrats, Emil, on the Biologico Send. It is a great video, man. I think it's literally like the only contextualization we have of how insanely difficult 9A actually is. Awesome stuff. All right, time to play catch up. Here we go. We're going to talk Franco Cookson's FA of But Nothing Is Lost. What is, at this moment, the third ever proposal of an E12. Well, I guess fourth if you count James Pearson's Walk of Life, but that got downgraded to E9, so can't really count that. So, E12. Currently, there are 3. Connor Herson's Drifters, Escape, Bon Voyage, and now this thing, which Franco Cookson has proposed as a full British trad grade of E12 7A. Is this the part where I explain how British trad grades work to everybody? All right, fuck it. We got time. Let's do this. So, in order to let you in on the intricacies of what this dude Franco Cookson has accomplished, I gotta make sure you understand what the hell this means. Because it looks super complicated, right? Like, you got freaking mod and diff and, man, HVS, like, there's numbers in there. All right, no, it's really not that hard. Seriously. So most grade scales, they exist exclusively as a method for measuring technical difficulty. But because the people that climb trad are insane psycho freaks, they realized they needed a way to measure danger too. And, well, that's the key difference here. So you got to think of each E and their corresponding number as a range of difficulty and danger. If we take the E6 grade in this chart, for example, we can see that the easier a route is, the more bold it is. Whereas the harder it is, the more safe. In other words, if an E6 is about as hard as a 7A or 511D sport climb, you best be channeling that inner Theoden and Pellinor feels before you get on it, because if you fuck it up, your buddy will likely have to scrape your brains off the rocks he's belaying you from. Sorry, but well, any excuse to show that clip, right? So the problem comes with how big of a range each E grade is given, right? Like E6 can be as technically easy as about French 7A all the way to 7C+, or 511D to 513A, which is a huge, huge freaking range. To get around this issue, the Brits decided to be as confusingly as humanly possible and started using the British technical grade, a grading scale that looks exactly like the French sport grades, but has nothing to do with it. I don't know why. It doesn't have pluses, so I guess that makes it different. British tech grades refer to the single hardest move on a route instead of the route in its entirety, and are not an open-ended scale. They go from 4A to 7B, no pluses. And the exact difficulty of each grade is just as broad as E grades themselves, so they solve nothing. A 6C British tech grade can be as hard as V5 6C+ all the way to freaking 7C or V9. Single move, by the way, not a V9 boulder problem. Remember, it's all about what the hardest move on a route is. British tech grade 7A hasn't exactly been defined, so no one really knows how hard it's supposed to be, and as far as I know, no one's ever done 7B yet. So it's kind of useless, unless used in conjunction with the E grade, just to kind of give you a better idea of how hard something is. So basically, an E6 6A could mean game over. An E6 6C is probably safe enough, but is a much, much harder route. And to be honest, like, I'm kind of making fun of the system, but it really is the best and most comprehensive way to factor in both danger and difficulty. Kind of. Here's another video that does a much better job of explaining things than me. Go check it out if you're still confused. Are you still confused? Yeah, you're probably still confused. This entire segment has solved absolutely fucking nothing. God damn it. Anyways, maybe this did help, maybe it didn't. The point is that when you see something like what Franco just sent, but nothing is lost, E12 7A, you should probably start shitting your pants, because it means the hardest single move on that bad boy is harder than V9 7C, and the fact that it's E12 means even Alex Honnold's butt would pucker up so fast it'd whistle if he got on that thing. Case in point, this lovely little image of Franco quite literally bleeding from a cut after a fall on said route. 3 years of projecting this thing, and we're gonna be getting a very cool movie to watch very soon that I am incredibly stoked to see. All of that said, this thing being given E12 apparently is a little controversial. The route itself is, as far as I can tell, not that technically difficult. It's more bold than anything, which means it's like essentially a free solo. So yeah, I don't know, UK climbing forums have been on fire for the past couple of days and weeks. Will be super interesting to see what happens in the future. But yeah, man, if you're a British tradster, I'd love to hear your 2 cents in the comments. Also, let me know how I did with the grades explanation, because that was a rough one. Let's keep it going. Next, and Korea just got its very first ever 8C plus boulder proposal, this time by Hyunbin Min, who has managed to climb a boulder that he has now called Primetime. Now maybe a few of you guys won't really know this dude since he kind of retired from the World Cup circuit a few years back, or mostly did, but rest assured, we're talking about a bona fide Korean climbing legend. If it's resume you want, it's resume I'll give you. Seoul Rock Dance, Korea's first proposed and since still unrepeated 9B/515B route for 8B plus V14 boulders, 2 8C V15s. The absolutely legendary boulder decided 8C plus climbed in a single session along with its stand start, united. Yeah, my guy knows what he's doing. Also, seemingly this thing is a long-standing project that's been tried by various top Korean climbers, including the likes of Sung-Soo Lee, who, according to Hyunbin Min, has more or less given a guesstimation of the boulder's difficulty. Only a guesstimation, right? Because dude hasn't sent it too. Yeah, you know how it goes. You talk with the person you're sessioning with. Eventually the question of how hard the thing you're trying is supposed to be comes up. One person says, yeah, it's probably super goddamn hard. About as hard as some of the 16s I've done. And the other goes, cool. Yeah, that sort of thing. Anyways, so big time proposal for what looks like a pretty mega boulder problem. Super sick erect climb with what look like very interesting moves along the bottom. 18 moves through a small roof and into what Hyunbin Min has said is about a 60-degree overhang. So way worse than what it looks like in these pictures, photos, whatever. But yeah, that's all about. Bleh. But yeah, that's about all I can say for the moment. Huge congrats to Hyunbin Min on the send. Can't wait to see this thing in better quality if that ever gets to be a thing. Looks like there's a full video. It's just not been posted yet for reasons I don't know about. Could be the guy just wants it for himself. Could be he doesn't want to spoil something big that's coming. Personally, I'm hoping for the latter as opposed to the former. But who can ever really say? Let's move on. Alright, a little bit more to catch up and a requested story from some of you guys from the last video. Let's talk Barry's Wilder's send of Mind to Motion. Now some of you might know Mind to Motion. It's a pretty slick 8B plus V14 boulder problem in Colorado, and Baze has just done as Baze is wont to do. He's the team kid to end all team kids. He teams up with the ultimate team kid, Beckett Shin, every so often, and then, you know, they go wreak havoc on my ego. Little dude's 14, the boulder problem he climbed, its grade is 14. Kids are now consistently climbing their age and grade. It's becoming a thing. It's both awesome and terrifying all at once, and I hope to keep that trend going until they hit 20. That's probably going to be a thing, I think, right? Shout out Test Piece Podcast. Go listen to that. I know this is just coming out of nowhere, but an episode a little bit ago with Abrahamsson caught my attention. Adam said something I've been thinking for years, which validated the absolute living crap out of me and felt really, really good. Anyways, more or less boils down to you got technical climbers, you got physically strong climbers, and no one seemingly has managed to like combine the two into a freaking crazy technical literal beast. The only one that's come somewhat close is, according to Adam, Yanya. Rest of it is a great conversation, the podcast I mean. Go check out the full thing, link below. My point is, look, Yves Gravel, right? That's a classic, how do I say this? Okay, this is a classic strength build, right? Dude only leveled up strength, barely hit the dex soft cap. People getting what I mean, or is that going way too nerdy with it? My guy can one arm hang a 6mm edge, can only, and I say only in quotes because it's still really, really good, but he can only climb V15. As Magnus said when they did a collab, you could argue that he's technically a really, really bad climber in like every sense of the word technically, so pun intended. But could you imagine how hard someone with that dude's strength could climb if they had the technique of someone like Abrahamsson and like you didn't have to lose one to build the other? It's mind-boggling to think about, but it just legitimately makes me feel like we're not even close to the true limit of human capabilities in climbing right now. And one of those little dudes, Baze, Beckett, all the other prodigies whose names have currently escaped me, yeah, they're gonna figure that shit out very, very soon probably. And when they do, it's gonna be nuts. Bouldering your age is wild. It's absolutely insane. Andra didn't send from Dirt Grows the Flowers until he was 16 years old. Missed it by a year, loser. I'm kidding, obviously, that's still insanely impressive. Anyways, let's move on. Next, some more catch-up stuff, and Cy McIntosh's FA of a route he's calling Fox-like Creature, which he has proposed as 9A plus 515A. So Cy, whose name I have no clue how to pronounce, because it's literally spelled C-Y. Is it Cy? Is it Kai? Is it Jeffrey? What is it? Sorry, where was I? This dude's been working on this thing all winter long, apparently, and I quote, has been fucking him at a 45-degree angle for the past few months, which, yeah, I know that feeling. Been there. Or have I? Yeah, anyways, second ever route at the grade, if the grade holds up for Sai, Kai, or Jeff. And I mean, you know, what more do I have to say about this one? I'm not entirely sure. Sorry I can't get your name right. Just huge congrats on this end. I'm about a week late on the announcement. But check out the dude's stuff. Link in the description as always. And as is literally everything I ever talk about on this show. Go check all the stuff down there out. Let's move on. Yeah, so 8C lightning round, where I'm just going to list all the ascents of 8C V15 boulder problems that I missed in the 2 weeks that I was away. Are you guys ready? Because it's not a small list. So since April 13th, the last day I uploaded, we have Shintaro Kanexi's Send of Nehana in Japan, an old Daikoyamara line under a bridge down by the river. Next, train spotting, FA'd by Hannes Puman, and the right exit to an old Alex Megos problem in Sweden. Super ballsy mantle, way off the deck, the kind you get to and just go, nah, get. Next, the Big Island gets its 43rd ascent by Antoine Girard. Did I say more? It's the Big Island. If you don't know what this boulder is, you must be new to climbing. Welcome. Stop watching YouTube. Go climb stuff. Next, Child of Hell. That one Sean Rabatu FA in Gotardo sent by Francesco Berardino. It's that one boulder that's pretty freaking rad and also pretty freaking tall. Looks like kind of a shitty landing too. Crazy. Next, the Big Island again. This time it's 44th ascent by Lilian Moretti. Need I say more? Probably not. It's the Big Island. Everybody's got to be psyched to climb on the Big Island. Next, Solitary Days, a boulder in Fionnay sent by Sam Weir for his 16th of the grade. Dude's an absolute dark horse of a boulder. Insanely strong, massively underrated. Next, more from Fontainebleau as Simon Boes gets a quick repeat of Charles Albert's Freerider. 4 sessions, grade corroborated, itty bitty little crimps on that boulder. Not normal for font, pretty freaking cool. Next, how surprised would you be if I said the Big Island again? Because it's the Big Island again. 45th ascent by Kaito Watanabe. That's a popular ass boulder, good grief. Next, Zazen, a Hamish MacArthur FA that I did not talk about when I talked about his FA of Tilde a couple of days ago. Also approximately 8C. Cool. Cool. Next, Shiba Inu gets a sit start. Shiba Inu sit in Goshenaralp, wherever that could be, probably Switzerland. Lorenzo Bassi adds a few moves to the 8B stand to complete a dope line. Next, Gotham City has been sent by Thiago Vaz. At this point, like, is it dawning on you how many 8C V15s there are in the world and how this is basically not news anymore? Can I stop covering these? Why am I doing this? Congrats, Thiago. Either way. Next, Power of Now direct Jules Marchelon became the second person to ever flash 8C V15 with this problem, and it has now been repeated by Marco Müller. Awesome. Next, this Singularity. Awesome Squamish classic that was first done in 2007, this time climbed by Bruce Zhu for his 3rd of the grade, also seemingly first Chinese person to climb at this level, which is dope. And finally, Trentatore Trentini, an FA by Giuliano Cameroni, and I cannot believe I actually managed to do it. And with this last one, as Austin Powers would say, and I'm spent. Good Lord, 15 8C boulders in a month. That's insane. That's enough. I'm good. I have no more to say. Time for the outro. But hey, that was some climbing news as always. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this stuff, to watch me ramble probably way too much. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment with your thoughts and all that. Really keeps me super motivated to see all the engagement. You guys actually enjoy whatever the hell it is that I'm doing. Helps keep the show alive and all that good stuff. Anyways, hope all of you enjoy the weekend. I will see you guys next on Monday for more of the regular show. But until then, of course, and as always, go climb some stuff.